Kingdom culture.
I'm alright, man. I'm alright. I'm just taking in everything that's happening lately. There's a lot of amazing things happening, a lot of doors being opened, so I'm good, man. I can't complain. Can't complain. This is what the life that we asked for, so it's here. Oh man, it was funny in there, man. Like there was a little bit of stiffness in there, you know. I had to shake people up a little bit, but I feel like, you know, midway through the set they kind of warmed up a bit, and I just had fun with it, man. Like I feel like that's the best way to kind of warm up a crowd, or if you feel like you've got a tough crowd and you kind of got to work them a little bit. They see you enjoying yourself and you're having fun and you're, you know, kind of carefree, then it kind of helps them to shake off the, you know, that rustiness as well. So
the same G's, that's what
always, no matter what, big or small, yeah, man, there's always that little element of butterflies just kind of in your stomach right before you go. But by the time I'm there and the lights hit me and I've got the mic in my hand, I'm comfy.
Some of them are straight grease, some business minded.
I think it's very important, man. Like having sort of like a hub where people can come and nurture their talent, you know, and grow and see other artists perform up close and personal. I think it's very important, man. Like that's how I came up, is just seeing you know, artists that were a little bit more established than me, some other people that were at the same level, and other people that were like really up and coming out the mud. Like that's what you need to see, man. Like you need to be exposed to that as much as you can, as early in your career as possible, because I feel like that's what's going to help you to grow, man. Like when you get to those massive big stages and you're shutting down arenas one day, you know, God willing, you know, by yourself, like I don't think you're really gonna take to those situations as best as you can if you don't have that home training, you know, to really like, you know, pass the mic back and forth, you know, have the host introduce you. And you know, I don't know, man, there's something about these kind of shows that really grasp me, man. Like it reminds me of like my early days, man, when I was just doing open mic shows. I wasn't even booked to perform, I was just showing up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I would just roll there because I saw there was going to be some cool artists there, or I thought it would be an opportunity to kind of you know, show my skills or grow them as well, like, you know, to learn from other people. Ask them, you know, how did you deal with that? That crowd was a bit tough. How did you, you know, turn it around? And then you learn things, you pick things up. So I think it's very important what they're doing here, man. Like, I hope it continues.
Some riders, and I love more.
Definitely, man. Like, I feel like we can't really have much of a solid scene, you know, in terms of like artists that are open about their faith, you know, in the mainstream and going further out. We can't really have that if it doesn't start in places like this, where, you know, the predominantly Christian crowd and, you know, like artists that are, you know, both established and on the come up. Like we need those kind of things regularly, where people can rub shoulders and you know, learn from each other. And you know, I think at the end of the day, like if those things don't continue and they're not supported, I can't really say we have much of a scene, you know what I'm saying? So big up Zoe Knights, man, for putting this on.
Held me on my feet when I was way low. Ain't gonna speak about it.
Yeah, the title just came from a place of having no choice, like running out of options and feeling like there's not a lot out there for me. Like there's no backup plan, there's no plan B. Like I've completely, like, you know, run away from the safe life. You know, I've completely like disbanded that and decided to just go after this dream. And when you do that, there ain't no safety net, there ain't no parachute that's gonna like carry you safely. Like you're just jumping out of a plane and hoping and praying that God will catch you and that you'll continue to fly in, you know what I'm saying, in the purpose that He set before you. And not a lot of people have the courage and boldness to do that. Pick up, get on safe, okay? Yeah, not a lot of people have the courage to do that. And when I did it, it was scary, man. Like I left my job last year. I was working at the same time as doing music, and then it got to the point where, as a lot of established artists that I've spoken to have told me, this point would come where you're just being pulled in one direction a little bit too strongly for you to, you know, to maintain both. So yeah, man, I remember the day, like I was like, cool, I'm gonna leave my job. And then I was like, nah. And then months went by and I didn't leave my job. And I kept feeling like, nah, man, like if I do it, it's a massive risk. What's gonna happen? I'm worried, I'm overthinking. And God just kept bringing bare confirmations, like bag of people come to me, like people that didn't even know me too much to be able to speak on my situation, but for some reason they were like, you need to leave your job. And I'm thinking, why does this keep happening? Like I felt like God was prodding me, like to the point where it was getting annoying. And I was just like, all right, cool. If I do it and it flops, it's on you, God. You told me to do this, innit? Like you gotta, you know, make sure you take care of me. And that's exactly what he's done, man. And then some, like taking care of me and then some, man. Like there's some amazing things that have happened in the last, 12, 13 months. And I'm still in shock. I'm still like, it's amazing to me, man, honestly. Like, and I really feel like it's the best decision I ever made.
God, I got Jesus will protect me from all the enemies you hide in plain.
Like I feel like the more you step out into the unknown, you step out into that untapped area, like you're gonna grow, because you're in situations that you haven't really been in before. You're experiencing things you haven't experienced before, but more tests and trials and things are gonna come with that because it's uncharted territory for you. So yeah, man, I just take it every day as it comes, innit? Like I don't really know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know what struggle I'm gonna face. I have some ongoing things that God's taking me and working me through, but every now and again he might just throw me a curveball and be like, yo, deal with that, figure that one out. And then I'm just there with the man, them like, all right, this has happened now, how are we gonna work around it? Being completely independent, having no real financial backing behind us. It's just whatever we make, we put back into the music and we figure it out. Like it's not easy, man. And I think sometimes people will look at some of your successes and your wins and think that that's just your life all the time. But yeah, it's not that. It's not that, man. For every massive win and achievement that you might see me post about or talk about or rap about in a song, there's like a million L's that I've taken to get to that point. So I'll talk about the L's and I'll talk about the hard times as well because they're important. They give context to the whole story in general. So yeah, man, there's so many things happening right now and I'm just taking it every day as it comes, really.
I don't want corn to fly on the main road. I don't want beef.
Target audience, to be honest, like it's the same as it's always been, man. Like it's whoever will listen, innit? Like I don't feel like I have enough authority to be like, this demographic of people have to listen to my music. Like obviously, like my music is very urban, and it's like I have references in there that young people will catch and understand. But like at the same time, like people always tell me I have an old head on my shoulders. Like I'm very like, I think about things that a guy in his mid-20s probably shouldn't think about. I worry about things that I probably shouldn't think about, stress about them, like, and I write about them because it's in my head all the time, so I don't know, man. Like whoever is willing to hear me out and when people play my songs, if it resonates with them, it's for them. Doesn't matter their age, doesn't matter their background, doesn't matter what other music they're into. I don't really care, man. Like you come to my shows, you're gonna see all types of people, like literally all types of people, man. Like my headline show was mad, fam. Like I don't know, people, if you looked into that crowd, you would have thought, what the heck, like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm grateful for every single person, man, because they've connected with my journey at some point along their journey, and that means the world to me. It doesn't matter, what type of person they are, how old they are, their gender, their background, their whatever. If it's for you, it's for you, innit?
Tell me nothing about taking L's, but this year will soon replace those.
Honestly, like it's mad. Like when people think about Prayer and Pattern, like it's probably like, not even probably, I reckon it is like my most successful song, like, or maybe the one that's had the most reach. That song was dropped like, I want to say maybe 2 years ago now, and I'm still getting messages from around the world, like random ones, like flipping Russia and Australia and Switzerland, like random places just messaging me like, yo man, Prayer and Pattern is hard. And I'm like, how did you hear that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, but somehow God's attached wings to it and it's reaching people. But how have I developed since then? I think just kind of just following my gut, man, like learning to just do that. Like if I tell you how quickly me and Coleman's made that song, you wouldn't believe, man. Like there's songs that I've worked on for months and months and months on end, and then put them out, and then maybe they haven't had the response and the appeal that Praying Pattern has. But the whole process has just taught me like to just trust my gut, because when we were making that, it was so organic. There was nothing forced or contrived about it. It was just, I like how this sounds. Thank you. Take it. Yeah, I like how this sounds, and yeah, man, we just followed the vibe. And to this day, like, another decision that I could never regret, man. Like, just following my gut, following my heart, you know. Messing about with melodies and stuff like that wasn't something that I did often around that time, but then it gave me confidence to do that a bit more in you know, tracks that followed. So, and even people look at me like crazy all the time, because they're like, fam, I never realized that Praying Pattern never had a hook. And I'm like, it was just a long verse with a little bit of catchy flow towards the end, but there ain't no hook that's repeated. Like, it's just, I was writing from my heart, writing about things that were really happening at the time. Like, got a phone call from Coleman's a few weeks back, said his nonny could be facing charge. Like, I remember sitting in the studio the day he's telling me, like, his bro's going through a madness right now, feds have raided the yard and it's looking like he's gonna get bagged. Like these things were happening, and we're just experiencing life together, and I've just written from my heart. No formula in mind, just whatever I felt like at the time, and it worked. So I've taken that and applied it to some more things that I've done, you know, since then. And yeah, man, I never feel like I regret a decision when I'm in that place. So
I can never make fuss. It's only God that can elevate us.
that was the highlight of my year, man. Like, I don't know what else could come this year. I don't know what else 2018 holds, but that was the highlight of my summer, for real, the highlight of my year. Like, we've been planning that show for a long time, mind you. Bless my bro. Listen, I'll shout you, yeah? Yeah, we have to do the round 2. But yeah, man, like, I didn't expect the year to give me that. Like, I didn't expect that at all, man. Like, we were planning and stuff. Like, I'll let you in on a secret. We were planning to do a headline show shortly after the release of Local in September, and it just didn't materialize. We couldn't make it happen. And then we linked up with Governor B and the Alomate team, and yeah, man, it was organic. It just made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't too much thought behind it. It was just, all right, cool. I like what Alomate's doing right now. We talked about the possibility of collaborating, doing an event. Obviously, I performed at Alomate Live, the first one. Had a great time there, and it just made sense, man. Like, I wanted to do the show, they wanted to put it on, and we did it, and it was the greatest thing that I've done this year, man. Like, amazing things have happened. Like, I did Red Bull Music Odyssey the day before, and I thought nothing's gonna top that, but yeah, man, the next day we did the headline show and it was crazy, man. So I loved it, every second of it, man. It was mad.
Use the reason ain't us. We put the work in, late night lurking.
For me, like I have 2 viewpoints on it. Like, firstly, I'm all for, like, the Christian family coming together, like the community coming together and supporting each other, and, you know, like, pulling all of our skills together, you know, to make, you know, a great product or put on a great show or whatever it may be. But another thing that I'm very, like, serious about is quality, and I feel like I'm gonna give the opportunity to someone who is of the same faith as me and has the same mentality, and we can walk in one accord. But if they can't deliver it, I have to give it to the next person in line who can do the job, you know. So that's my standpoint on it. I know, like, some people out there are just like, nah, I'm gonna just let the whole team, you know, just be Christians just because we happen to share the same faith, and they're gonna, you know, be the ones in charge of whatever. And I'm like, you can do that, that's cool, and I respect, you know, the thought process, because at the end of the day, I do believe that everything we have, everything we need is already in-house. Like, I do believe that, like, we shouldn't have that, you know, outsource too much. Like, but unfortunately, not everyone is walking in their calling, and that's where the problem is. Like, I feel like if everybody really found their purpose and listened, you know, intently to what God was telling them to do and followed it, like, I really feel like we wouldn't have to worry and think about, oh man, where am I gonna find this promoter? There's no good Christian ones. Like, probably because the guy who's supposed to be doing the promoting is doing something else. know what I'm saying? And because maybe he's been passionate about it, and there's nothing wrong with having different hats on at different times, but figure out what you're supposed to do and just do it, man. Like, that's what I'm all about. Like, I was doing youth work for years and years and years. Like, I loved it, I still love it, and I still am firm, like, in that if I feel like God tells me tomorrow to stop making music, I'm gonna go back to just doing youth work. But my ultimate passion was music, and I left the youth working job to pursue music full time, and God is completely like taking care of all my needs and providing for me and opening mad doors that I never even imagined were possible. So it showed me that that's confirmation. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, doing the right thing. Like, it wasn't necessarily that doing youth work was wrong, but for that to be the only thing that I'm doing, and for that to be my main, you know, walk at the moment, it wasn't right. So I had to leave it. But yeah, man, I think just finding your purpose is going to change all of that, man. And a lot of people just need to kind of have that reality check and say, you know what, am I really doing what God's told me to do, or am I just doing the thing that's safe, or the thing that pays the most, or the thing that, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, man, like, I would love it if everybody, you know, that I ever worked with from this point on was, you know, a Christian and shared the same faith as me, you know, and we could continue to smash down doors in the industry. I would love that. But sometimes that's not the case, innit? So you just got to do what you got to do. But the funny thing is, the more I walk around and navigate the industry, the more I find believers. It's mad. Like, I'll go to like big radio stations and record label places and have these mad meetings with people, and then it'll be like, yeah, man, like, I really love what you do, Melvillous, because you talk about your faith. Like, it's made me like kind of reignite my faith. And I'm like, hold on, what? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but these are the things you would never find out if you're not in those places. So, you know, sometimes that's just God's way of doing things. He'll kind of align you with certain people, you know, so that you can kind of help to re-spark what they had once upon a time.
I can't sleep if the birds ain't chirping up all hours of the night.
I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew. I don't. Like, I think about it all the time. Like, where is this going? Where's this heading to? What is the, like, what's the ultimate achievement in this? I'm not sure, man. Like, obviously the typical ones, you know, people coming to know the Lord, people strengthening their faith, people being encouraged, you know, in their walk with God, and people enjoying good music. Like, those are like the things that I care about, and I really try to make sure that they remain the core. But where are we ultimately going? I don't know, and I think I don't want to know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to dwell on it too much. I just like the fact that I'm in the passenger seat and God's steering. Like, he's the one letting me know what's next. That's what makes everything such a surprise. When opportunities come and I'm like, how the heck did that happen? Why does this person know about my music? Why is this person trying to book me? Like, I don't know why. Like, I wish sometimes I could just zoom out and see the grand scheme and the massive master plan that God's got. But I do enjoy just having the ignorance and not really knowing, and just trusting him and following one step at a time.
I was on the mic, grew up in a place where cowards wanna fight. I was on the side.
There's new music coming. There is new music coming. I'm back in the studio with Coleman's. We're working again, we're grinding. There's some shows coming up that, you know, people can come out to and see. I'm going on Governor B's Hands Are Made for Working tour in October. There's another possible tour I can't say too much about around that time as well, that I may be involved in. And yeah, man, a whole bunch of shows throughout the summer, working and grinding. Hey, bless my bro. Done. Yeah, man, a whole bunch of things coming. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just happy to be back in the studio. Like, I feel like that's where I belong. Like, I don't like coming out too much, like, unless I have to, unless, you know, I do enjoy like coming out and singing my songs and people singing them back to me and having that, you know, like, feeling like the music's really connecting, like you can see it because you're on the front line. I do enjoy that, but I just like being in the studio and making stuff. I'm just happy to be back. Like, I'm with Coleman's again, where we're locking ourselves away and we're just working, and whatever comes out of that comes out of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that I wish I could talk about right now, but I can't, because, you know, things are still being finalised behind the scenes and that, but God's opening more doors, mad things are happening. I don't know what else to say.
I don't want to excuse you in that.
I'm trying to hold it back, but yeah.
It's great to hear that, you know, things are happening, doors are opening, and we're looking forward to seeing what more you're going to come with, and again, we're all supporting what you're doing, bro.
Thank you.
Kingdom Culture.